Traders display their agricultural goods along the road in a typical Ogoni village in Rivers State. It's the usual ambience created by the endless chatter of buying and selling for subsistence in an evening market. Predominantly farmers and fishermen, the people like music, often with a thematic preoccupation reflecting their culture and traditional lifestyle. The Ogonis are a happy people despite a sad historical background.
We are going to demand our rights peacefully, non-violently, and we shall win.
Born on the 10th of November 1941, Kenule Benso Saro Wiwa was from Bane in Kana local government area of Rivers State. A graduate of English from the University of Ibadan, he was a prolific writer who displayed wit and literary proficiency in many works of art.
Despair. He cursed the earth for spouting oil, black gold they called it, and he cursed the gods for not drying the oil wells. What did it matter that millions of barrels of oil were mined and exported daily, so long as this poor woman wept those tears of despair?
Losing a bid to represent the Ogonis in the Constitutional Convention to usher in the Second Republic in 1978, it dawned on the young Wiwa that politics is indeed local and the key to having a voice in Nigeria. In 1990, Saro Wiwa founded the Movement for the Survival of the Ogoni People, a mass-based organization for the campaign for social, economic, and environmental justice in Nigeria's Niger Delta region.
And on behalf of the Movement for the Survival of the Ogoni People,
first as spokesman and later president of MOSOP, the majority of the people embraced the ideology of the movement, but a few distanced themselves. As an outspoken critic of the Nigerian government, Ken Saro Wiwa, Ledo Mite, and top members of MOSOP led a non-violent campaign against environmental degradation of the lands and waters of Ogoniland by the operations of the multinational petroleum industry.
we want freedom! We want freedom! We want freedom! We want freedom!
While the campaign endured, members of the movement were tried by a special military tribunal for allegedly masterminding the gruesome murder of some Ogoni elders at a pro-government meeting. Saro Wiwa and 8 persons, infamously called the Ogoni 9, were sentenced to death and hanged in 1995 by the military dictatorship of General Sani Abacha.
It was a sham that it violated both Nigerian law and international law. And sadly for me, even the judge rose to become the chief judge of Federal High Court. Several people who were part of that process were rewarded, some became generals, some became all that. Other parts of the world, you visit rows of people.
This was a fraudulent trial, a bad verdict, an unjust sentence, and it has now been followed by judicial murder. I don't think that is acceptable. I see no way in which it can be defended. And if the Harare principles mean anything, I do not myself see how Nigeria can stay in the Commonwealth until they return to democratic government.
The execution provoked international outrage and resulted in the suspension of Nigeria from the Commonwealth of Nations for 3 years.
The day Ken Saro was executed was the most sad day in my life. And I can remember that day there was no rain, there was no sun, and I was in Port Harcourt. everywhere was very quiet and sad, and military were in control. Some prominent Ogoni were killed with him brutally. But still, I don't think we have anything to remember them for than the hero that paid the price for the benefit of his people of the Niger Delta. And anything the blood has been spilled, with time, the benefit must come, because you cannot stop the message, but you can stop the messenger.
1995 is in the dark history of the Ogoni people. Somehow, you survived. How did you survive?
Like Nigerians will say, it was the act of God. And I look forward to it as not just a sad day for the Ogoni people, but for this country and for all humanity and those who cherish justice.
From today onwards, Shell is declared persona non grata in Ogoni. No to Shell! No to Shell!
Ken Saro Wiwa's earlier proclamation became reality after his death. The Dutch company was no longer welcome in Ogoniland. 29 years after the execution of the Ogoni Nine, what has changed in Nigeria's oil-rich Niger Delta region?
Nothing has changed. If anything, it is worse. Over 99% of the oil wells in the Niger Delta belong to non-Niger Deltans. Most of them does not know the road to the Niger Delta, not to talk of experiencing the negative effects and impacts of oil production. Look at the recommendation of UNEP report, that there is hydrocarbon in the air that we breathe, that there is benzene, a cancer-causing carcinogen, in the water that we drink, that as at 2011, that 5 meters of the land was dead. Now it has got into the water table. That the water we drink in Ogoni is 900 times worse than level recommended by World Health Organization. It means that you can see somebody in the morning and in the evening the person is dead. And that's why weekends, the only festival is burial. If you call a traditional ruler in Ogoni today, he's a young boy. Life has become so short. When people spend 40 years, they celebrate for a life well spent. All that happened because of pollution.
Enshrined in the struggle is the Ogoni Bill of Rights.
Political marginalization, economic strangulation, and ecological degradation. Ecologically, the United Nations came to Ogoni to establish the fact that Ken was not lying. He was saying the truth, that the Ogoni environment has been polluted and that it needs to be remediated.
Has that Bill of Rights even got a response at all? HIPREP is working, but it's only the beginning. The surface of the land may be clean, but pollution has gone as deep as 10 meters in some places. Even groundwater has been contaminated. If the people understand that it takes more than one lifetime to restore a polluted environment, and they open their arms and welcome new pollution, what can we say?
Obasanjo visited Ogoni 4 times. 4. There are some states he did not visit. He visited Ogoni 4 times. He could not take the oil. You think that you can do that without addressing the legitimate demands that the Ogoni people were making? Look at what oil wells are done in Abuja that do not have one oil well. Oil wells from the Niger Delta, look at what they have done in Abuja. The oil in Ogoni has blood on it. He thinks it is an ordinary oil.
A 2014 report by the United Nations Environment Programme reveals that it will take about 25 to 30 years to restore the environment in Ogoniland in a cleanup exercise expected to gulp about $1 billion.
We shall implement the UNEP report on Ogoniland. We are determined to put right the wrongs of the past, where the people of this land were treated unfairly and the environment unduly degraded and polluted.
That cannot be a sustainable way of cleanup. The world knows what needs to be done. It has happened in very many parts of the world, and we have seen the processes of cleanup. They have the United Nations Environmental Program that was supposed to monitor the process, and they came out to say that, look, this is environmental vandalism.
I meet the project coordinator of the hydrocarbon pollution remediation project, Professor Neni Barini Zabi.
We have structured our remediation intervention in Ogoni in a manner that is systematic, that is sustainable. We finished the simple sites. Now we are dealing with the medium risk complex sites. And medium risk complex sites are sites that both the soil and groundwater are contaminated, but they are actually outside residential areas. At the moment, we are cleaning over 1,800 hectares of oil-contaminated shoreline in Ogoniland. We have faced our shoreline cleanup intervention. So now we are focusing on Gokana shoreline communities. So we are working in Bomu, we are working in Po, we are working in Goi, we are working in Bidere, we are working in Kedere.
While the cleanup exercise continues, it's important to note that the acceptance and implementation of the Ogoni Bill of Rights and the exoneration of Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others from conviction may very well be the beginning of a healing process 29 years after the execution of the Ogoni 9 by the military dictatorship in Nigeria in 1995. Besides cleanup and remediation work at polluted sites, the HYPREP is also planting mangroves as part of a robust biodiversity recovery program.
I'm so happy that life is coming back to Ogoniland. All the devastations, all the damages that are done to the ecosystem, both the flora and the fauna, are now being restored gradually. Before now, I can't see anything like Preuncle around here. That's to show the level of devastation of the system in the Niger Delta after oil pollution.
From to Bidere, to Kedere, to Goi, Bomu, and other communities in Ogoniland, the people have witnessed decades of devastating oil spills. But as battered as the ecosystem is, the HYPREP is doing what it can to restore the environment and the land, with the hope and expectation that at the scent of water, Ogoni shall live again. From Bomu, Gokana local government area of Rivers State, Ofietime George, Arise News.